So when Robin comes back, we're all going to start. And the first thing that we're going to do is start seated. So, Brenna, I'm going to mute you real quick. Okay. And then, okay, let's go ahead and take a tall and comfortable seat. So we're going to put our props off to the side for a moment and then either sit on a block or a blanket. And for those that are unfamiliar, you might start off with your blanket like this and then fold it over in half once again and fold it into roughly an eighth. So this is where we're going to start with our little socks. So typically in a comfortable seated position before we meditate, we want to make sure that our hips and our knees are roughly in the same position. So you might notice that you have to lift up your butt a little bit so that there is the same height between your knees and your hips, or you can even fold that blanket up a little bit as well. For those of you that have a lot of compression, this is why we've got the socks. You're going to take them and roll them neatly and compactly to make little burritos. And then you can tuck them behind the backs of each of your knees. If you're like, Jessica, I don't have any knee issues, I don't want to do that, no worries. It just gives a little bit of space into the backs of the kneecaps. And then especially for those of us that have meniscus issues, it just creates a little bit of comfort. Okay, so some of you are still doing that. And even if you don't have knee issues, I just find that sometimes it's like, oh, that's a nice little support there. And then once we've got our little socks, you're going to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones so you feel like your butt's really rooted on whatever you're sitting on. And then go ahead and plant your hands on the tops of your thighs. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. And I want you to just take a couple of moments to breathe right here and right now. So our practice today is focused on our hips. And our hips, as most of us know, are sort of the home of our second chakra. It's the home of our emotions, our creativity, our sexuality, our vitality. But I've been wondering lately whether or not our homes or our hips might also be the home to our ancestors, to that parts of our parents that we carry with us, to that parts of our grandparents that we carry with us, and how we can start to just tune into that shared history just a little bit. And notice if that starts to shift not only how we perceive those that have come before us, but perceive or change how we perceive ourselves. So as you're here for these last 2 or 3 breath cycles, I'd like you to notice where you can sit a little bit taller in your spine, where you can soften tension around your jaw or maybe your shoulders. Fantastic. And then very gently on your next exhale, you're just going to drop your chin to your chest. And then as you inhale, turn your chin up towards the sky. And you'll just take 5 of these. So maybe you exhale as the chin comes down. And then maybe you inhale as the chin comes up. And you're just starting to wake up the neck. Notice how the breath changes as you're here and doing this. Okay, we'll take one more set. And then after your next inhalation, go ahead and exhale and bring your head back to center. Take a breath in here and then exhale, drop your right ear over to the right shoulder. Inhale back through center and then drop your left ear over to your left shoulder. And you'll just take these about 4 or 5 times, inhaling through center, exhaling one way, inhaling through center, and exhaling the other way. We'll do about 2 more sets. Great. Next time you come through center, stay there. Take a breath in and sit a little taller, and then exhale, look to your right. Inhale through center, and exhale, look to your left. And inhale through center. And you've got 4 more of these, and you're just starting to wake up the body. And as you do this, just notice what you notice. Do the shoulders want to turn into the rotation, or is it just happening at the head? Do you notice if there's a slight engagement across the belly as you turn your head? Just to stabilize the movement of the skull. Okay. The next time you come back through center, go ahead and pause there. And then as you exhale, you'll go ahead and drop your chin to your chest, circle your right ear to the right, your skull up and back, your left ear over to the left, and then your chin back through center. And you'll just take 4 of these one direction, nice, gentle circles of the neck. Having all the movements we've just taken sort of added together and just noticing if there's any cricks or creaks. Seeing if you can slow down your breath and just attune to this moment. Nice work. After you've taken 4 circles one way, go ahead and pause and center and then switch directions. And then notice how full the circle is. Notice if you're clenching your hands against your thighs or if the hands can remain soft. Notice if the jaw can remain easy, throat remain relaxed. Great. Okay. After you've taken 4 both directions, go ahead and come back through center, head straight on top. And then we're going to turn both of our palms to face up. We're going to be on our hands quite a bit today, so we're going to do some warm up with the hands. Cross your thumbs over to the opposite pinky finger, or well, your only pinky finger. Make little fists and then turn your hands down to face the floor. So like you're revving a motorcycle, because we're all wild animals today, you're going to just flex and extend at the wrist. And as you do this, you want to see if you can really, really extend. So I notice that when I extend and go forward, it doesn't want to go too forward. It just doesn't really like that. So just notice what's happening for you if you can really go both directions. Okay, we'll just do about 4 more. Just happening at the wrist. Okay, and then let's go ahead and pause there. Flip your forearms so your palms now face up. And now you're going to draw your hands towards each other and away. We're going to do about 10 of these. Great. Last 2. Awesome. Cool. Let's go ahead and pause here. And now we're going to flick. We're going to do this about 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start lifting your arms up and over your head. Keep flicking your hands as we lift our arms over our head. And 10, 9, 8, 7, flick 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Shake out your hands. Great. Cool. Let's go ahead and switch the cross of our ankles, but before we do that, remove your socks and extend your legs in front of you, Dandasana staff pose. We're going to just take a moment here. So if you need to circle your ankles because we were sitting there for quite a bit of time, go ahead and do that. If you want to reach forward and grab towards your feet and stretch the back a little bit, go ahead and do that. Great. And then when we are ready, we're going to go ahead and switch the opposite cross. So hopefully you remember which leg that was. If you found the little socks helpful, replace them underneath your knees. And then again, remove the flesh. Cool. Let's go ahead and extend our arms out to the right and to the left like we're little ballerinas or something. And then inhale, go ahead and reach your left arm up and overhead. As we exhale, little side bend over to the right. And then inhale, come back through center. And we're going to do 4 of these. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, up through center. Again, over to the right. Up through center. This last one, we're going to stay. And exhale, over to the right. Now we're going to pause here. You might bend your right elbow and put your elbow on the floor. You might bend your left elbow and grab the back of your head. You might choose to look underneath your left armpit. You might look down towards the floor. But you're going to just take a couple of breaths here. We're breathing all along our left side body and just noticing how that feels. And then on your next in breath, you're going to reach up through the left arm, come all the way back up to center, and just take a moment to notice if you notice anything between the sides. Lift your shoulder blades up towards your ears and then drop them down. We're going to do about 5 of these. So this is called elevation and depression of the scapula. We're hopefully working towards an inversion, so we need to focus on seeing how our shoulders are interacting. So we're just going up and down. Awesome sauce. And then after this last one, we'll go ahead and lower the arms, extend back out to your ballerina tutu. Inhale, right arm comes up and overhead. And exhale, little baby side bend over to the left and inhale up. So you've got 4 of these. And you can go as far, as deep as you want. I just want you to pay attention to how you're breathing. So we're exhaling into the side bend and inhaling and coming up. So this last one, we're going to go ahead and stay. Now, as you stay here, you might soften or bend the left elbow towards the floor. You might soften and bend the right elbow and grab the back of your head. Again, you might choose to look up towards the sky underneath your right armpit towards right elbow. You might choose to look down towards your knee or the floor. But you just take a moment to pause and breathe and notice what's happening all along your right side body. When you're ready to come out, that right arm will extend. It comes back up to the sky, and we come back to sit. Now, this time, as you're there, we are going to take our shoulder blades forward, and then we're going to take our shoulder blades back. So they come forward, and then they come back. So this is protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades. And so as we get older, we spend a lot of time in what's called forward head syndrome. This is going to help us undo that and help keep our kyphotic curve at its natural shape. All right, go ahead and come to stillness now. Now you're going to go forward. You're going to go up. You're going to go back. You're going to go down and forward. So that protraction, elevation, retraction, depression. And you've got 4 of those, one direction. And then after you've done 4, go ahead and pause and reverse the directions. So squeeze a little bit more when you go back, Julie. Yep. There we go. Nice work. And after you've done 4, let's go ahead and resolve that. And the last little thing, because we're here. So we're going to do the protraction to retraction with our skull. Your chin's going to go forward, and then it's going to come back. And it's going to go forward, and it's going to come back. So Steve, this is something that Rocky Heron has us do in order to mobilize the spine in order to do an inversion. So just the chin is going forward and then it's coming back. It feels very weird, but we spend a lot of time doing this anyways when we're looking at computers. There we go. Fantastic. All right, cool. So we are now done with that. Go ahead and extend your legs long once again. You might need to remove your socks. With your legs long, circle the ankles if you feel like that feels good, or feel free to internally and externally rotate the whole thighs like a little kid waiting for ice cream. Okay. From there, come to stillness, and then take your left hand, cross it to the outside edge of your right thigh. Right hand might come to a block or the floor behind and to the right of you. You'll inhale and lift up. And as you exhale, you're going to start to rotate towards the right. And you're just actively pulling your toes back towards your knees. You're lifting up through your vertebra and scooping as much of your abdomen on the right side towards your spine and letting as much of your left organs come forward. Nice work. Next in breath, go ahead and come back through center. And we'll go to the other side. So right hand touches outer left thigh. Left hand comes to floor or block outside of and slightly behind your left hip. Inhale, lift up, and then exhale, start to rotate towards your left. And again, we're thinking of lifting up first, and then you draw your organs in towards the spine on the left side, and see if you can draw your right organs towards that inner left thigh. Nice. Okay, and inhale and come back through center. Go ahead and bend both of your knees, draw the soles of your feet together, and press the feet together. Cool. Hands might come back behind you, and you might lift your pelvis a little bit and draw it a little closer to your feet. Now, this is going to be weird, but we're going to see how this goes. You're going to pull all 5 toes back towards your ankles. So your toes are active and they're pulling back towards your ankles, and then push your big toe mounds and pinky toe mounds into each other. Push the inner and the outer edges of your heels into each other. Now, you're going to slowly draw your knees up towards your shoulders and then down towards the floor. You might want your hands on the floor for support, but we're just slowly engaging our adductor muscles as we lift and lower our inner thighs. Great, then keep pressing your feet together as you do that. 2 more. Last one. Great, okay. Go ahead and close your knees together. Extend your legs long on the mat. Remove your blocks, remove your blanket, whatever you were sitting on, and then you're gonna make your way onto your back. When you find yourself on your back, make sure your block, if you're not using a block, your pillow is somewhere nearby. And all of you at home, can you turn around so your butts are not towards me in a minute? There we go. Oh, that works too, Barbara. She's on an angle. Okay, when you lie down on your back, first thing you're going to do is just notice what it feels like to be on your back, where the curves of your spine, your sacrum, and your cervical spine. And then from here, let's go ahead and bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Yeah, Brenna, your camera moves with you. Cool. From here, let's walk our feet in a little closer towards us. Open your knees and draw the soles of your feet together. From here, bring your hands alongside your hips, and I want you to put your palms down into the mat, down into the floor. Again, press into your big toe mounds, your pinky toe mounds, the whole inside sole of your foot, and draw your toes towards your ankles. Now, as you inhale, you're going to push down through your feet, push down through your hands, and lift your hips off the floor. You've got 10 of these. So this is super duper awkward. Not going to lie. Your butt may not get more than an inch off the floor. That's totally fine. What we're focused on is really pushing the inner and the outer edge of the feet in towards each other, and noticing if the right hip and the left hip lift and lower at the same rate. You'll notice that when you lower your butt back down, your knees also seem to open up just a little bit more, which is kind of cool. And so you're just taking about 4 more of these. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Nice control there, Robin. Yeah, that's even, Barbara. Nice work. Okay, the next time you come up, you're going to hold for 3 breath cycles. And notice that we're working in a different part of our hip here. Lift a little bit more on your right hip, Julie. The other right. There we go. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and lower your pelvis down. Bring your hands to the outer edges of your knees. Close your knees. Well, stay here for a moment. Notice just how your legs have opened up a little bit more than they would have otherwise. And then when you're ready, close the knees together. Plant your feet firmly on the floor. Some of you will use that block and slide it in between your inner thighs. Some of you will not. It's totally up to you. And you'll put the block, if you're using it on first or second setting, walk your feet in so your heels are in line with your sit bones. And then for kicks and giggles, turn your palms to face up. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back, so retraction. Push the back of your head in, and then when you're ready, push down into your feet, squeeze your block if you're using it, and lift your hips. And you've got 10 of these. And you're just noticing. This one is more familiar to most of us. Can you make sure your right hip and your left hip are working at the same rate? Steve, it looks like your right hip is overpowering your left. Ah, there you go. There we go. Yeah, so make that left leg work a little bit more for you. Yep, especially on the descent. Yeah, okay. We've got about two more. And then after your next one, you're just gonna lift your hips and you're gonna hold it there for just a couple of breaths. And you'll squeeze into your block if you're using it. You'll press down into your feet, and then you'll see if you can draw your tailbone forward to your knees. If you can walk more of your shoulders or your upper arms underneath you and push into the back of your skull. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. The end of this next exhalation, untuck the shoulders and bring the pelvis back to the floor. Take a moment and notice this curves of the spine. Can your sacrum be heavy? The thoracic spine be heavy? The skull be heavy? Cool. Now, if you're using that block, slide it up to your knees. So it's now going to be in between your knees. And I want you to walk your feet outside of your hips. How far depends upon how much of an internal angle you have in your hips. That's up for you to decide. So you might want to walk them a little bit further apart. And then you're going to press onto the outer edges of your feet. So Julie, walk them wide right to left versus front to back. There you go. And squeeze into that block. And then notice what you want to do with your hands. Do you want your palms up or your palms down? But then when you're ready, you're going to lift and lower your hips 10 times. So now we're trying to engage a different part of your leg as you lift and lower your hips. So Jenny had requested that we do a trip around the hip, and that's what we're doing. And she's unfortunately missing it, but that's okay. And you're just noticing, are both legs working evenly? Both legs working evenly. Nice control there, Robin. Good job. Nice, Laura. Laura, keep pressing in your feet as you lift up, though. Yeah, there we go. Awesome sauce. And then this next one, go ahead and hold with the slight internal rotation. You squeeze into your block or your pillow. You press onto the knife edge, the outer edge of your foot, and you just pause and you breathe. The end of your next exhalation, you'll slowly bring your pelvis back down. Go ahead and remove your block. Open your arms into a T shape and just let your knees fall into each other. And just notice how that feels. And you just take a couple breaths here. As you're ready, you're going to let your right knee start to fall to the right and your left leg is going to go to the right as well. And then you'll inhale and you'll come back through center. So the feet stay just as they are and you're just windshield wipering through the hips. And as you do this, you've got about 5 of them. So I encourage you to take your time. Notice how one leg can turn out as the other leg turns in. You can play with initiating the movement from your hip. So like if you bring your hip to the floor first, then your knees can follow. Or what does it feel like to lift your knees first and then let the hip and the foot follow? So typically when we're coming out of it, we want to let our hip lead the way, but sometimes you can play with letting the foot lead the way or the knee lead the way. And so you're just paying attention to what that feels like for you. And then the next time your legs go to the right, let's all just stay there. All right. Some of you will cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. Some of you will bring your right heel closer to your pelvis and at the top of your left thigh. It depends upon how much mobility you have and what you wish to do. More is not better. And you just pause and you breathe. You lengthen your tailbone down towards your left knee. Maybe your gaze goes towards your left elbow or shoulder or hand. You just pause and you breathe. If you've crossed that right ankle, very mindfully release the foot. And then draw your left hip back to the floor. The knees will follow. And then let the legs fall over to the left. Again, you might choose to stay here. You might cross your left ankle on the top of your right thigh. You might draw that foot closer to your right hip. Again, more is not better. You pay attention to what's feeling good for you. Nice job. Maybe the gaze goes towards the right. Is that okay for your ankle, Barbara? Yeah. Okay. As you're ready, gently release that left foot to the floor and then try to initiate this from your right hip. So right hip becomes super heavy and the knee and hip follow. Whoa, there you go, Steve. And once you come back to center, go ahead and take a moment to just be neutral. Maybe draw the knees into your chest. Maybe rock a little bit from right to left. Okay. And then go ahead and release. So we're going to do a knee strengthener just for a little bit later. Go ahead and plant both feet on the floor, hip distance apart. Extend your right leg up towards the sky. Flex through your right foot. Externally rotate your right leg. And then make sure your arms are still out to the T shape. Yep. And then you're going to lower your right foot to an inch above the floor, really finding that adductor muscle pressing into your left foot. And then inhale, lift the right knee up in line with your left knee. So no higher than your left knee, and then lower down. And you've got about 10 of these. And as you're paying attention to this, notice if your hip is dropping to the right or if you can push into your left foot. Oh, there's your cat, Brenna. He's pretty. Yep, there you go, Barbara. To keep your pelvis neutral. There you go, Barbara. And then Laura, can you pause right there? See if you can turn your right toes to the right a little bit more. Yeah. Touch the inside edge of your right leg, finding your adductor. Keep that engaged. Yep. As you lower the leg down and then lift it up. That's what we're trying to engage. There we go. Awesome. And so we're trying to find that adductor muscle on the inside. And the next time you lift that right leg parallel to your left thigh, we'll just pause there for 3. You'll draw your pubic bone up to your belly button for 2. You'll draw your front ribs into your back body for 1. And then exhale, draw the leg all the way up, bend the knee, plant the foot next to the left, and just take a moment to notice if you notice anything between the sides. And then when you're ready, we'll try the other side. So go ahead and reach your left leg up, flex through the foot, turn the leg out at the top of the hip, and then inhale, lower that leg all the way to about an inch above the floor. Nice, Julie. And then exhale, lift it so it's in line with your right knee. There you go, Julie. Yep. And Julie, you have a lot of hip mobility, so make sure you feel maybe a little bit of the back of your butt on that left side. Yep. There you go, Julie. And then some of the inside edge. Yep. Okay. And we're just pausing and we're breathing. And you're reaching out. Nice control there, Robin. Robin, press onto the pinky toe edge of your right foot a little bit more. So here we go. Yep. So your hip stays even. Yep. Nice. And then Brenna, you press into your right foot a little bit too, and you don't have to go as low. Yep. Awesome. The next time you lift that left leg parallel to the right thigh, you're going to pause and breathe there for 3. Draw your pubic bone up to your belly button for 2. The front ribs into the back body for 1. Nice job. Next exhale, lift the leg all the way up. Hug the knee into the chest. Go ahead and then release the foot to the floor. Notice if you notice anything between the sides. And then when you're ready, draw the knees into your chest. Draw your nose into your knees. And then you're going to start to rock and roll up and down the spine about 5 to 10 times. And once you've gotten enough momentum, you'll sit up for a moment in Dandasana, staff pose once again, and just feel how that feels. Legs long, spine tall. Fantastic. All right. All of you, let's go ahead and grab our blanket. So Brenna, this is gonna suck. I'm just giving you a heads up. Let's go ahead and grab our blanket and unroll it. So some of you will take the long edge and you are going to neatly and compactly roll your blanket towards the other edge. Some of you will take the fringe side and you're going to neatly and compactly roll it. So the longer your blanket snake, the more intense this will be. The shorter your blanket snake, the less intense this will be. So if you have a snake, or maybe this is more like a burrito, you choose what's going to work for you. But the key to that is we want to make sure that it's very compact. So you get rid of as much of the space as you possibly can by really tightly rolling it up. And then we're going to put that off to the side for a moment. You might grab your blocks and have a block to the right and a block to the left. And then our forehead is going to come to the mat. The blanket is going to be tucked right behind the backs of our knees. And then once you've done that, the blocks are here because we haven't done this in a while. But it's always an oldie and a goodie. And then Robin, I'm curious to see how you feel at the end after this one. And then some of you are going to just stay right there. Some of you might decide to shift a little right to left, allowing the pressure of the blanket to start to bifurcate or to massage the muscles of the backs of the calves, the backs of the hamstrings. And all of us are going to remember that, breath is a thing, and we want to return to that. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and come to stillness with that. Take a quarter turn of your blanket roll. So now it's a little bit further down, closer towards your feet. And again, you might shift a little right to left. You might stay completely still, but we've got tall spine and we're breathing. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and pause, take a quarter turn of that blanket again. Now it's pretty close to our ankles. And again, you might shift a little right to left or you might not. You might point your toes, so curl your toes up towards your butt, or then push them down into the floor, and that gives you a different sensation on the backs of your ankles as well. Great. And then we're going to gently come out of this. So go ahead and remove your blocks, remove your blanket, come forward onto your hands and your knees. And because we haven't been on our hands and our knees, we're going to take a moment first to just extend your right leg back because that was a lot of compression. So you'll probably feel tight there. And then go ahead and extend your left leg back. And then pause. Those of you that have sensitive knees might want to unfold that blanket and put it under your knees now. Okay. And then we're going to come to stillness and plant our hands underneath our shoulders. So from here, we're going to lift up onto the tips of our fingertips and then lower the heels of our hands back to the floor. And you've got about 10 of these. And you want to do it very mindfully because we're engaging the muscles on the backs of our forearms. And we're trying to strengthen our wrists before I make you do a lot of things that are not going to be so much fun. So we're pausing and we're breathing. Okay, we'll do one more. Great. Awesome. Let's go ahead and lower down and just take a standard cat and cow. And just notice what that feels like to inhale, lift the gaze and the tail, exhale, round through the spine. So we did shoulder protraction and retraction at the beginning. So you might notice that your cat and cow feels a little okay here. We've opened up some of the hips. So maybe that feels okay as well in the low back. Cool. Next in breath, go ahead and come to a neutral spine. From this neutral spine, again, push into the tips of your fingers, draw your inner armpits up towards your spine. And some of you are just going to draw your left knee forward. And your left knee is going to hover. It's going to be roughly underneath your chest. You're going to try to draw your left heel pretty close to your tuchus. It's probably not going to get there, but that's fine. Here's option one. Happy to stay right here. Option two is to take your right hand to the top of your left knee. Option two is to stay right here. Option three is to push your knee into your hand. Push that knee into your hand. And option four is to curl your chin to your chest and round under your spine as you're pushing your knee into your hand. And we're going to do this for 10 and 9 and 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Push into your left hand, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. Release your right hand down, release your left knee down, slide your left foot back, curl the toes under, and just notice what that feels like to keep that leg straight. Great. Some of you are going to stay right here. Again, push down into the tops of your fingers. Some of you will float your left leg parallel to the floor. Great. Some of you will stay here, lengthen out through that head, retracting your chin just a little bit so your spine is long. And then some of you will bend your left knee. Great. Some of you will stay here with that left knee bent. Some of you will swim your right hand back near your butt, grab your left foot. Yep, and you'll just pause here and breathe for 3. We'll breathe for 2. We'll breathe for 1. Fantastic. If you're holding your foot, gently release. So now that left knee is bent, and then straighten your left leg long. Great. Lower your left knee down, and then sit back for a moment on the tops of your feet and just let your wrists have a little break. Great. Now we're going to go ahead and try all that again. So come forward to hands and knees and just take 3 cats and 3 cows, and you just notice. So we're working slowly, but we'll hope it all works out in a moment. And you're just noticing what you feel. The foundation that is being set is often one that we can't always see, but it does influence us. And we try to figure out how we can learn to not only better understand it, but better trust in it. Okay, let's go ahead and come to a neutral spine. Draw your right knee forward. Draw your right heel pretty close to your tuchus. Now again, this is option 1. You might just stay here. Option 2 is to bring your left hand to the top or the front of your right knee. Option 3 is to push knee and hand into each other. And then option 4 is to look under to round into your spine. And we'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Release your left hand. Release the right knee, and then send your right foot straight back. And again, you might just stay here with your foot on the floor. You might float your right leg parallel to the floor. You might bend your right knee. You might stay right here. You might swim your left hand back alongside your hip. You might go ahead and grab the top of your right foot. And we're just going to pause and breathe here for 3. We'll pause and breathe here for 2. We'll pause and breathe here for 1. Fantastic. If you're holding that foot, gently release the foot. Again, the knee is bent, and then go ahead and straighten your right leg long, and then lower the foot down to the floor. Fantastic. From here, let's go ahead and make our way back to a downward facing dog, first down dog of the day, and just notice what that feels like. When your pelvis is up and back, I want you to see if you can push down and forward through the L shape of your hand, so the index finger and the thumb. And then remember when we lowered our hands slowly to the floor, make the heel of your hand light. And then see if you can lift your heels up a little bit. And then see if you can keep your hips that high and then reach your heels back towards the floor. Now, some of you will stay still. Some of you might try to wag your tail around a little bit and notice what that feels like, just to move your hips a little right to left, not necessarily bending the knees, but just slowly shifting the hips one way and then the other. Great. Well, let's go ahead and bend the knees and come back down to the mat. Okay. This time, let's go ahead and open our left leg parallel to the floor, so like a little dog at a hydrant. And then knee back together. We're going to do about 5 of these. And we want to move slowly and methodically as we're lifting and lowering that leg. And again, your left toes are flexed and the toes are pulling in the direction of your ankle. Great. And then the next time we lift that leg out to the left, we're going to awkwardly hold that there. Push into your right hand, draw your right low belly in, and breathe for 3, for 2, for 1. Nice work. Go ahead and release the left knee to the floor. Extend the left leg back behind you, and then cross the left leg all the way over to your right. So it's behind you and to the right. And then you're going to look over your right shoulder as you reach out through your right hip. And hopefully we find a fun stretch going from our left armpit down to our left hip. And you're just pausing and breathing there. From there, you're going to bend your left knee. That was a straight leg. Bring the top of your left foot to the floor and then hug your left foot towards your right foot. Both feet are like touching each other in what looks like an eagle almost pose. From there, we're going to start. I'm sorry, I should have told you to grab your blocks. You might want to put your hands on your blocks, some of you. And then you're going to start to walk your butt back towards your feet. And you'll notice that your right knee now will lift up and away from the floor. And there's a lot of compression happening on the back of maybe your right calf, maybe your right hamstring. So this is typically what is called Garudasana, or not Garudasana, Gomukhasana leg. So this is Gomukhasana 1, cow face 1. Most of us don't sit here because this is not very fun. So we're going to shift our weight forward. You're going to widen your feet apart and sit your tuchus in between the hole of your legs. So widen your feet as far apart so your butt can come to the floor. Awesome. And if you're like, Jessica, that's not going to work, the left leg can be straightened in front and you can cross the right knee on top. Cool. Now from here, let's go ahead and take our left hand over our right knee, our right hand out to the right, maybe behind us. And you're going to inhale and lift up and then start to draw the belly in on the right side and rotate towards your left. So we're really thinking about our spine being kind of like a candy cane and our organs being the stripes that go around the candy cane. We're trying to wrap them around the candy cane of our spine. And when you're ready, you'll inhale and come back through center. And then we'll do that to the other side. So right hand to the inside edge of the left right knee and the left hand outside of the left hip. Again, lift up. And then we'll rotate towards the left. Great. And then inhale, come back through center. So Laura, this one's for you. Some of you are going to hinge forward and our blocks are here. And so you might want to put your blocks underneath your elbows. Some of you might be like, yeah, I'm going to tuck my chin to my chest. Some of you might be like, Jessica, this is really a lot of compression for my knee. Again, we've got that sock. We can put that sock underneath our knee or in between our knee and our thigh, and it just creates a little bit of space. And then you just take a couple of breaths here. Those of you that did choose to fold forward, you might feel an outer opening in your outer hips. You might even feel that all the way down to your pelvis, if you, depending upon where that is tight for you. Great. And then those of you that have folded forward start to come out. If you've put little sockies there, go ahead and remove them. And then you're going to come forward onto hands and knees. Make your way back to your downward facing dog and just notice what that feels like. You should notice if there's maybe a difference between your right side and your left side. And then this time when you're in your downward facing dog, I want you to draw your pubic bone towards your belly button. Draw your front ribs towards your back body. And then see if you could breathe laterally, right to left in your ribs. Great. Next in-breath, come down to hands and knees. And we'll try all of that stuff on the other side. So when you're ready, you'll inhale, lift the right knee out like a little dog at a hydrant, and exhale down. We've got 5 of these. And as we do these, notice if all the weight shifts to your left. I notice it takes a little bit more core stabilization so I don't dump all my weight in my left wrist, but instead can keep the weight centered between right hand and left hand. And then I also notice when I do that, my left outer butt is like, oh, wow, that's a lot of work. And so we're just pausing and we're breathing. All right, the next time the right leg comes out, we're going to pause and we breathe for 3. And we're going to breathe for 2. We're going to breathe for 1. Fantastic. Lower your right knee down. Straighten your right leg back behind you. Cross your right leg all the way over to the left. Curl the toes under. And then as you reach out through your heel, you're going to start to take your gaze over your left shoulder. And then looking towards that right heel. And hopefully we're finding a stretch on our right side body. Nice job. Okay, when you're ready, bend the right knee. Bring the top of the right foot to the floor. Draw your right foot close to your left foot. This will be that great opportunity to bring our hands to our blocks at this time. And then from here, you're going to start to walk your blocks back to your butt back to your feet. And you'll notice that now your left knee has peeled away from the floor just a little bit, and there's compression on the back of our left calf, left thigh. So Gomukhasana 1 legs. Awesome. Most of us are going to now shift our weight forward, widen our feet apart, and put our butt down in between the whole of our legs. And then again, if you find that those little sock things were helpful, you might want to choose to put a sock underneath your knee. You can also choose to extend your right leg, bottom leg long. You choose what's going to work for you. And then we're going to take a little rotation to our left first. So right hand outside of left thigh, left hand outside of left hip. Again, inhale, lift up through the spine. And exhale, start to rotate towards your left. Check in with your head and see if your chin is jutting forward or if it's stacked right on top of your spine. Nice work. Next in-breath, come back through center. Then we'll go to the other side. So again, right hand outside of right hip, left hand on the inside edge of left knee, and start to rotate towards your right. Great. Inhale, come back through center. And at this point, again, you might come to your blocks and you might fold forward at your hips. You might notice that specifically, you might feel an opening in your outer hips. You can feel it more on one leg than the other, and that's totally fine. And some of you that have the capacity might even be able to tuck your chin over your front knee. So more is not better. You just attend to what's working for you. And if you do, or if you are able to do that, it's this weird quieting action that sort of happens as you do that. Again, more is not better. Just notice what's happening for you. Very gently, if you're folded forward, come out, come back to vertical. And then we're going to crawl ourselves back to hands and knees. From there, make your way back to downward facing dog. Now this time as you find yourself in downward facing dog, again, push the L shape of your hands forward. I want you to see if you can pull that line of energy up through the inner edges of your arms into the shoulders, and then the shoulders press down and forward into your hands. See if you can separate your waist from your shoulders and then your pelvis from your waist. Send your pubic bone back and your inner thighs back. Now, some of you might try to lift your 10 toes away from the floor and notice how that changes the sensation in the backs of your legs. Great. Cool. Go ahead and bend just your right knee. And you're going to take some little circles here with that right hip. So this knee, cool, that was clear as mud. Go ahead and lower down. So we're just going to bend the knee in, drawing the heel towards our butt, just like before, and you can circle it. Now, some of you will keep your knee bent. I highly encourage that. Some of you will straighten your leg long. I think that requires too much abdominal control for me, so I choose to keep my knee straight, or bent rather, but you choose what works for you. And you're just going to take 4 little hip circles one way, and then 4 little hip circles the other way. Great. And then gently release that. And then when you're ready, let's come forward into plank, all of us. Just stabilize our core a little bit because that took a lot. Push down into your L shape of your hands. Lift up through the inner thighs. Great. When you're ready, back to down dog, and we'll try the other side. Go ahead and bend the left knee, and then circle the hip. And again, the circle is as big or as small as you wish it to be. Awesome sauce, and switch the direction. Oh, sorry, Barbara, that's not clear. So you're just circling your left knee. There we go. And then once you're balanced between both sides, go ahead and come forward into plank. And again, you just pause. What is your foundation right here and now? How's your shape? How's the strength? How's the breath? Okay. Go back to downward facing dog. Inhales, reach your right leg up and back. Take a moment to open and stack the hips if that feels good to you. Maybe you keep the leg parallel, but you're just noticing what that feels like. And then Steve, you might choose to do something different from this one, but we're gonna go ahead and draw our right thigh forward and come for pigeon pose. So your right foot is gonna come towards your left hand. And we're gonna take more of an active pigeon for today. So you might choose to keep those blocks nearby. And we're gonna curl our back toes under. And you're gonna push into your front shin and your back knee. Lengthen your tailbone down so we feel a stretch happening across the front of our left thigh. And then you might walk your left foot back a little bit and lower the pelvis a little bit. And then you'll push down again through the back foot, the back knee, the front shin, lift up. And then you might reach it back and lower down. We'll just take one more of those. So push down to lift up through the spine, finding that length. And then exhale, release. Plant your hands back down onto the mat, curl the toes under, downward facing dog. And then when you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. So lift your left leg up and back. You might stack and open the hip. You might keep the leg parallel. It's totally up to you. You're just paying attention. Maybe that top knee bends, maybe it doesn't. And then when you're ready, you're going to draw the left knee to your nose. You're going to put the left shin on the floor, left knee towards left hand, left foot towards right hand. Curl the back toes under and maybe hands come to blocks. And then again, we're going to just take those 3 little active pigeon pulses. So press the top of your left shin, right knee, right foot. Notice how the spine can get a little longer. And then as you exhale, you might lower down and reach your right foot back. And then just a couple more times. So pushing down to lift up. Relax. And then one more time, pushing down to lift up. Great. And relax. Cool. All right, go ahead and plant your hands. Curl the back toes under, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into plank. And then exhale, softly lower your knees to the mat. Cross at your ankles and roll over your shins to sit on your butt. Once again, send your legs in front of you long. And then we're gonna bring our hands behind us, really like we're at a pool, we're having a great day. We're not really caring about anything. You're just gonna be lazy. Let the legs flop in and out. I shouldn't say lazy, we're relaxed. We're doing something. We're consciously relaxing. That's not lazy. Cool. And then once you've done enough of that, you might bounce the legs up and down if that feels fun to you. If not, don't do that. Okay. And then we're going to bend our knees and plant our feet on the floor. And you might bring your hands back behind you and again, slowly let the legs fall one direction and the other. And Laura, can you see if you can let your legs move independently of each other? So, yeah, one goes and then the other goes. There we go. Cool. And some of you will just keep doing that. Some of you will want to come up and you'll be like, look, no hands. And so you'll just do this as you internally and externally rotate, and your hands might be here. I find that I have to pray to get through this next part. So I clasp my hands because it's really freaking hard, but you can choose to do this or not. So you might continue to stay right where we're at, or the next time you go to the right, you're going to push down into your shins and lift your pelvis up, and then put your pelvis slowly back down. So we're just adding in all the shapes we've been doing together in this one crazy thing. And Julie, take your time. There we go. Slow and control there. So if the legs move independently of one another, they can assist with you getting into and out of the shape. There you go, Julie. Nice, Barbara. And then, yeah, there you go, Laura. Laura, I'm curious. I wonder if you let your legs be a little bit further from your body, if that will help. So they look like they're pretty close. And I'm wondering if they're a little bit further away, if that will help. I mean, obviously not too far, but there you go. That did seem a little easier. Okay, awesome. But we're going to pretend that we're even with that. So let's go ahead and complete that. From here, take your left knee, bend your left foot, put your left foot on the floor. You're going to cross your left foot outside of your right thigh. And the right leg is super active. The toes are pulling back towards you. Your right arm wraps around your left thigh. Your left hand is going to come outside and behind that left hip. Now, again, you're going to reach forward and out through your right foot. You're going to push your left thigh thing into your right forearm. Pull your right forearm into your left thigh thing. Scoop your belly away from your inner left thigh. Lift up through your spine and rotate towards your left. And just feel how that feels. Right leg is super active. Great. Inhale, gently unwind. Release the hold of your leg and cross your left ankle over your right foot. From there, hands come back behind you, little hanging out at the vacation beach spot, and then bend the right foot and put the right foot closer to you. Now, this is weird, not gonna lie. You're gonna draw your left knee pretty close to your chest. So instead of letting me forward, draw it close to your chest. Now from there, you're gonna arch your back. So it feels like you're rolling over your sit bones. Flex through your left foot and then open your left knee away from you. So Laura, you said, oh, yep, I see you found that shape. So if you were having a lot of stuff going on in that outer left hip, those three actions together will allow you to access your piriformis and all the external rotators of your hip, which we kind of stressed out a little bit earlier. There we go. And then when you're ready to be done with that, shift your butt back, extend your right leg long, extend your left leg long. Again, if you want to circle your ankles, happily do that. If you don't, fantastic, don't do that either. Cool. And then we'll go ahead and come to stillness. You choose which direction you want your hands to face. So maybe your fingertips are facing in the same direction as your knees. Maybe they're facing back behind you, but you're going to plant your feet on the floor. And then you're going to push your butt over towards your feet. Lift your butt and put it, there you go, Julie. Now, from here, push down through your hands, hug your shoulder blades together on your back, push down through your feet, lift your hips high. So for a reverse table, again, draw the shoulder blades together on the back, lift up through your pelvis, and take a moment to pause and breathe there for 3, for 2, for 1. Nice work. Lower your pelvis back down, extend your legs long. Cool. Let's try the other side. So bend your right knee, cross your right foot outside of your left leg. Again, pull your left toes back towards your left knee. Sit super tall through your spine. Wrap the left arm around your right thigh thing and bring your right hand out to the right. Now, the more you send your left foot forward, you can then lift up through your spine, push your right Knee into your left arm crook, your arm crook into your knee. Scoop the belly and the organs away from your inner right thigh. Lift up through the spine and rotate to your right. We just pause and we breathe. And we notice how that's working. Awesome sauce. Next in breath, gently unwind, come back through center, cross the right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Hands come back behind us like we're at that beach. Bend the left knee and put the left foot on the floor. And then again, all that weird stuff. So, well, this one doesn't have a lot of external rotation, but you're going to draw your right knee pretty close to your chest. Then you're going to arch your back. So you're coming over the top of your sit bones and then externally rotate that right leg as much as you can. Still pulling all 5 toes of that right foot back towards your right knee and just pausing and breathing there. Great. And then when we're ready, shift your weight back, extend the legs long. And again, you might windshield wiper the legs in and out. You might bounce the legs up and down. You might circle the ankles. Okay. So again, hands can face in whichever direction you want. So maybe the toes, the fingers are facing the same direction as the toes. Maybe they're not. If you're doing the first option, it doesn't matter. If you're doing this next option, I would encourage your fingertips to face in the same direction as your toes. And then again, whichever option you're doing, you're going to push down in through your hands. You're going to push down in through your feet. You're going to lift your hips high. And if your legs are straight, see if you can draw the soles of your feet to the floor. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back and lift your pelvis up. And breathe for 3, for 2, for 1. Nice work. Gently release that down. Take a moment to just sit tall and see how that feels. And then cross your right ankle over your left. Draw your knees underneath you. Come forward to hands and knees and make your way back to downward facing dog. This is our last little thing. And you just notice how this feels. How does your down dog feel? How do the backs of your hamstrings feel? Great. Okay. Let's go ahead and lower our knees down to the mat. I had 2 more things I'd wanted to try, but just checking in with everybody. How are you feeling? I got a thumbs up. We're okay. All right. So let's try this. 2 thumbs up. Thanks, Steve. Let's lower our forearms down to the mat. 3 thumbs up. I didn't know we had 3 thumbs. Okay. And you can either draw your palms to touch like a prayer, or you can keep your hands in a number 11 shape. Awesome. And then you're just going to round your spine under. Happy little Halloween cats. Curl your toes under and start to lift your pelvis up towards the sky. You're just going to notice how this feels. Great. And when you're ready, you're going to lower your knees down and rest for a moment in child's pose. And I want you to just see how that felt. Did you feel stable? Did you feel strong? Did you not? That's totally fine. Just notice what you feel. And then we're going to try to focus on our foundation a little bit and see if that changes anything. So let's go ahead and come forward to forearms and knees once again. This time I want you to really draw your palms to press each other. You're going to karate chop your pinky fingers down into the mat. I want you to see if you can really walk your elbows in about 1 millimeter of your shoulder. So it's very slight. And then you're going to push down and widen the skin of your arms onto your mat. From there, walk your right foot back and curl the toes under. Walk your left foot back and curl the toes under. So now we found ourselves on the horrible plank. Good job. Now you're going to lift your inner thighs up and lengthen your tailbone back towards your heels. Keep pressing down and wide through your arms. Now, some of you are going to draw your chin to your chest and look under towards your toes, and you might start to walk your feet towards your face, finding yourself in a dolphin pose. And just notice if that focus, oh, that looks better, allows a little bit more stability, a little bit more strength, a little bit more ease. Truly push more down through your arms. Julie, I'm gonna try something with you. Can you come down, please? Can you walk your elbows in just a little bit this way? Okay. Now let's see what happens when you go back up. And then when you've had enough of that, you're gonna come down. Is that okay? No difference? Okay. And when you're done in your child's pose, the last thing that we'll do is you're gonna make your little fist with your hands again. Wrap your fingers around your thumbs and see if you can scoop your belly with your hands and fold over into child's pose. So the hands are really in the organs. It doesn't feel that great, but your back body will thank you a little bit later as you can allow sort of the knuckles to, it feels like they're softening into your psoas, and then your low back widens. And then again, those of you with the knee stuff, that sock is fantastic if you feel like there's a lot of compression. Oh, it's Garfield. A lot of compression in the back of your knees. Great. When you're done with that, you'll gently come up to sit and you'll make your way onto your backs. When you make your way onto your backs, go ahead and find your strap. And you'll just take a moment to lay flat. Nothing needed, just lay flat. Yeah, Robin, doesn't that feel nice? It's great in the low back. Yeah, so stay there as long as you want. And once you find yourself here, you might bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. And then draw your right knee into your chest, draw your strap across the ball of your right foot, and send your right foot up to the sky. And we're only going for about a 90-degree angle here. Some of you will keep that opposite leg, your left leg, bent. Some of you will straighten it along the floor. Whatever you do, if the left leg is long, make sure the left leg stays as engaged as the right leg. So both legs are neutral. There you go, Steve. You're reaching up through your right heel. You're pulling down with both ends of the strap. You're pressing up into the ball of your foot. And then you're seeing if you can draw your outer right hip away from your right shoulder. So the waist stays long. Great. You're just going to stay here for about another 4 breaths or so. And then at the end of your 4th exhalation, you'll gently bend the knee, release the strap. Depending upon what's happening with your left leg, you might need to bend your left knee, put both feet on the floor, back to that starting position, and just notice what you notice. And when you're ready, you'll try that all on the other side. So left knee into the chest, strap across the ball of the foot, send the foot up towards the sky. And just take a couple of moments. Do you want the right leg bent? Do you want the right leg straight? The right leg is straight. Make sure it's as active as the left. So the toes are pulling up towards your face. The inner thigh is rolling to the floor. Yep. And then notice if you can press up through your big toe mound of your left foot. There we go. And just pull the 4th and 5th toes down. Barbara, I wonder what would happen if you sent more energy through your left heel. There. Set. Okay. And then you just pause and you breathe. And Robin, press more through your left big toe. There we go. Is that okay on your foot? Now we just pause and we breathe, and we pause and we breathe. And then notice if you can release any of the death grip that you've got around that strap. Yep. I like that, Steve. You just let it go entirely. It's like, bye. Okay. And then when you're ready, you're gently going to just bend that knee, release the strap. And then if you need to, you'll bend the right knee. Okay. And then from here, with both knees bent, you might pull your knees into your chest. You might rock a little bit from right to left. But I want you to check in and see what feels like it might be great for you to complete. Maybe some active supine twists might feel nice. Maybe happy baby might feel nice. Maybe you're just ready for shavasana. Whatever it is, you take a moment to just check in with you. I think I sort of got caught on this idea of like our hips being sort of connected to our past because I'm reading this book called Happy Money, and this guy is talking about a lot of our money stuff is actually generational. It comes from our parents and from our grandparents, and how their feelings about things influenced how we feel about things. And I think about the fact that, our hips, at least in yoga, we often think of our hips as being the storehouse of our emotions. But the question is, how much of those emotions are ours? How much of them are inherited? And how if we take the time to really just sort of learn to distinguish what is ours from what is not? How can that allow us to heal in ways that may not have previously been available to us? And so, as you're here for these last couple of moments, last couple of breaths, I can really invite you to check in and do what feels appropriate for you right here, right now. The history of what you may have done in the past or what you might think is acceptable or others have told you is acceptable, not needed. Just what feels good to you. And so you'll just take a couple more breaths, doing whatever is inviting and comforting and nourishing and aliving, that's not a word. Uh, God, what is that word? Um, Whatever. I think enlivening. There we go. And you just take a couple breaths. And then when you feel complete between your sides, I encourage you to set yourself up for your final resting pose. So whether that's shavasana, legs up the wall, or supta baddha konasana, totally your choice. But just make sure you have set yourself up super well, where you feel comfortable and supported, warm if the space is cold. And Barbara, can you move that strap a little bit? Yeah, and it's not encroaching on you at all, and you can just spread out and melt the space to just be. And even if you want to kick that block away, do that too. Yep. And as you settle in here, I invite you to take the first series of breaths, maybe audible inhales and exhales, as an invitation to really just fidget or settle, to find your way, to find your own sense of ease in this shape. And then once you feel like you've found that, the invitation is to start at the feet. And you're just going to simply trace your awareness up the spine from the soles of your feet. And you might choose to, just scan the body, looking at things. You might choose to say a prayer of gratitude as if it were, thanking the feet and all the different bones in the feet and the ankles and the three bones that are in the ankles, working your way up the two bones in the shins and across the floating patella and the femur. You're slowly making your way up into the pelvis and noticing all those fun bones, the sacrum, and all the bones that are like part of the coccyx, the sacrum, and the lumbar spine. And again, up into the thoracic spine and feeling how the ribs connect in the floating and the non-floating. Then you'll find your way up to your scapula, feeling how they just kind of hang there on the back. And then connect into the acromion joint on the front, the clavicles, the humerus, so the top arm bone, and then the radius and the ulna, out through the wrists, fingers. And then magically your attention comes back to the base of the, I guess, thoracic spine, cervical spine juncture. And you walk your way up through the neck and up to the skull and letting the jaw hang, letting the eyes soften. Once you've made your body scan, you'll just take a couple of breaths, inhaling up the spine and then exhaling all the way back down. Every inhalation draws sustenance from the earth, from your ancestors, from your own past. And every exhale just allows you to soften, to release, to surrender, maybe some misconceptions, limiting beliefs, or anything you don't need to hold on to. Maybe what you no longer want to hold on to. And I'll leave you here with you for another couple of moments, another few breaths, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When movement does start to beckon you, allow it to enter into the physical form slowly and in whatever way feels comforting to you. Again, those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll start to make your way to one of your sides. You'll pause for a couple of breaths. After you've taken a few breaths, you'll roll yourself up to a tall and comfortable seat. And when you're vertical, I encourage you to take the opportunity to sit well, whether that means you elevate your butt on a block or a blanket. If you found the socks helpful and you want to put those behind the backs of your knees, by all means do that. And then once you've sorted yourself out that way, go ahead and plant your hands wherever is comfortable for you on the thighs. See if you can find a slight tilt of your sacrum forwards and then lift up through the vertebra. Relax any tension around your mouth. Soften your eyes in the eye socket. And then just take about 3 breaths here. I find it interesting to think about all the things that, unbeknownst to us, play a huge influence or have a huge influence in our lives. That which comes before us, but also that which is present. So your breath, notice how it's moving right here and now. Notice how it can show you where there are parts of the body that are maybe a little bit underworked, overworked, underappreciated. Our foundation always has to come back to the simple things that are often, and I shouldn't say simple, but the things that are often unseen. So as you take these last few breaths here, I invite you to just notice whatever you notice. And to the best of your ability, send a prayer of appreciation, of gratitude, of love, if you will, towards all that made this moment possible. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with the collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and then push your sternum into your thumbs. Draw your chin down slightly as you lift up through the back of the skull, tops of the ears, and then exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. That light, that breath, that foundation within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, the foundation within each of you. Namaste.